Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let the Paint Dry. Yeah, sun is out here in the Northwest. In my backyard behind this tree, I still haven't remembered the name that I gave this tree, but this is one of my favorite shots and favorite. That's why I give the camera headed in this direction. Had a wonderful conversation this morning, or yeah, earlier today at noon, and we were talking about just kind of where we are with in the world in this moment in history. And we are living through historic times. This is a historic time. And we may not really see the true weight of this time and the decisions that are made and how we're choosing to live our life and how we're being forced to live our life. We may not see the significance in our lifetime. It may be, but we still make these videos because I think I can sense and a lot of people can sense that we're in a historic time. Here we are in July of 2020. Amidst a high or low, or it's hard to quantify or to measure. I don't know if that's the correct word, where we are in the scheme, but we're in one of the loops and one of the cycles of this COVID pandemic, Black Lives Matter movement, and election year. You know, and you can see pretty clearly that that everything is going to be weaponized. Division is going to be weaponized. What side of the stance, all that's going to be weaponized. And I think it's important for us to know our history, know where we came from, right? So that we know where we're going. And people go around and around with arguments and things online. And I think people obviously need to do that. And then you have people like me talking. But it really comes, I think, I'm thinking of your inner life, your personal life. And it becomes a very, it becomes something that comes to the forefront for me is the small things. One of the phrases that were said in our conversation this morning was the smallest thing action in your life is important, and not to go like hyper, like what they call it, Rain Man on it, or super manic on our super, just like where you're just all out of whack over analyzing, oh, I took my shoe off, did I do it right, what did that mean? Not to go into that space, but to be awake and to not be in a state of slumber. I love how the wind's picking up. Not in a state of slumber. And I think most people are awake. I don't think we really have a choice right now to be asleep. Everybody's awake. We've been forced to be awake, forced out of our slumber, right? And this awakening, it can be disturbing depending on your level of slumber that you were in. It can be very disturbing because it's not something, it's kind of like a rude awakening for certain people. And you instantly realize what you're grounded in. And for me as a creative, these are the things that I'm thinking about when we first went on quarantine, like in March of this year, end of March, I think was kind of when that all happened. I started to notice what people were grounded in. I've often thought that we've have so much that we're grounded in things that are very movable. So when they're moved, then we're moved as a whole populace. And you see it because there's an unraveling of people, and it's being filmed with our cell phones. People, excuse me, unraveling emotionally in public and physically attacking people, and just happening on a very high rate, this level of violence. And then I think of just our nation. When I think of violence, I think of America, and I think of our appetite for war, and how that we made a economic foundation out of war. We learn to capitalize on war, and we've built a belief system that many times is called patriotism. Being patriotic is like the religion that fits and pairs right with this appetite and desire and thirst for war. And that is the bedrock of America. And then there's a piece of oppression, which is like or the piece of oppression that Black people have experienced through living and existing in America is like a multifaceted war. It's dealt with harsh power and soft power and passive aggressive behavior and policies and influence and fear and having a slave class in America has been very critical to its success. And so I spend my days doing art and distilling all this, sometimes with my art comes off very, for me, it seems very childlike. I'm painting cartoons and characters and animals. And then sometimes it's very deeply heavy topics, you know, touching on violence against Black bodies, touching on the treatment of women, touching on the treatment of our trans brothers and sisters in their community, understanding what that means in the Black community and stigmas in the Black community and Black folks. And then also there's this real understanding of whiteness and understanding our relationship to whiteness and white supremacy and what all that means. So I think the two things that really come forward is in the conversation and just today and kind of like a build up to today and something that I've been thinking about a lot is just relationship as a Black man to white supremacy and being awake in the light of this historic moment and being aware of how important the smallest details of my life can affect my entire life and the importance of them. So I've been spilling a lot there. I feel like there needs to be some sort of song filling up. Maybe some improv, some Yago, 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 go, Yago, Yago, go, Yago, Yago, go, Ziga Deba, Zodeba, singing in the sun. Today, Ziba Koa, Kukeba Zia Koa, Kukeba Zia Koa, Kukeba Zia Koa, Kukeba. Ride on, ride on, march on, march on, work on, work on, pray on, pray on, say on, say on, say on, say on. Pray on, pray on, pray on, pray on, fight on, fight on, fight on, fight on, out of the mouths of babes. Whoa, the wise man once said, out of the mouths of babes, oh, 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 we will find the answers. Each generation will have to choose what to do in a time of war. Beya, do deya, deya, beya, do deya, 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 bo deya, deya, deya. Deya, zi, di 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 di, zeya, di 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 di, wo, deya. Deya, 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 deya. We sing today, finding our place under the sun. We sing today, finding our place under the sun. Deya, 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 deya. Deya, 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 Let the paint dry.